That's why you should always carry a packet of your investor's favorite sweets in your pocket. My name's Chris. I am a 6-time founder and investor in startups, and I make psychology content now so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Now, one of my favorite psychologies in entrepreneurship is called the halo effect. And what the halo effect essentially says is that if you have recently been endorsed, won a trophy, a competition, been in media, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's something public and positive, if you have a very recent halo, then anything you say, regardless of the subject, is believed over twice as much on average than if you didn't have that halo. And that's you saying what would be exactly the same thing in exactly the same way to exactly the same person. But if you have a halo, they'll act on it and believe it twice as often. Well, there was a brilliant study done by Joseph Forgas in 2011 where he wanted to understand whether somebody's mood affects the level of the halo effect. So if I'm in a good mood, neutral mood, or bad mood, if somebody pitches me, how does it affect my perception of what they're saying? And again, it might sound like common sense, but the outcome is surprising. If somebody is in a good mood and they listen to somebody pitch, that halo effect doubles. So twice as powerful, twice as many people will believe and or act on what that person says compared to if the halo didn't exist. Now, if they're neutral, it's the normal number. But where it gets really surprising is if they're in a bad mood or a negative mood. So if the person you are pitching to while you have a halo is not in a good mood, then what tends to happen is that human actually starts to feel in competition with you and stops listening to the value of what you have to say. And the theory is that they are essentially envious of your status as a result of the halo and attempt to go into some form of social competition with you. So I have done this a number of times. So after I've received a halo, I will book in a meeting, physical meeting with said investor. I will find out somehow what their favorite drink, sweet, food, whatever, anything that creates dopamine, basically, what their favorite one is. And before I say anything meaningful about my startup in that conversation, I will give them that sweet to put them in a better mood. As a result, the impact of your pitch, your style, everything you say comes across 4 times more likely to be believed and acted on than if you didn't do it in the first place. So